Grade 7, Quiz 1, Part 1. Directions. Read the text and answer the questions that follow. The Unusual Story of Arthur Ferguson, an excerpt from 36 Unsolved Mysteries of the World by Vikas Khatri. Retired Glasgow-born actor Arthur Ferguson was a terrific salesperson. However, like many other such people, he was unaware of his talent until one inspiring day when the perfect opportunity presented itself to him. His moment happened in Trafalgar Square, one bright and sunny morning in 1923. The source of his understanding was a rich American from Iowa, who he found staring reverently at Nelson's column. Ferguson decided to appoint himself as the official guide to the square. Speaking to the American, he explained that the statue atop the column was of Admiral Lord Nelson, one of Britain's most famous seafarers and naval heroes. He had died during the Battle of Trafalgar, after which the square was named. Such a terrible shame, he sighed. The square wouldn't feel the same without it. However, it all had to go, lions and fountains included. Britain's debts were sky high, and the government had decided to sell off the landmark to the highest bidder. The American was interested and inquired as to the price. Ferguson mused and explained that it was to be sold for just £6,000. Obviously, you'd have to go to the right buyer, someone who would protect and appreciate a monument of this scale. By a curious coincidence, it was Ferguson himself who had been entrusted by the government with the task of organizing the sale, which had to be kept top secret. The American pleaded with Ferguson to allow him to make an offer. At last, Ferguson relented and telephoned his employers for instructions. He returned within a matter of minutes. It was decided that Britain was prepared to accept a check right away, to complete the deal as soon as possible. Ferguson, amazed at his own cunning, immediately went off and cashed the check while his customer got in touch with some contractors. They were extremely reluctant to accept the job and told him that they would not be able to help them. It was not until the American received an official assurance from Scotland Yard that he would believe that he had been conned. That summer was a good one as far as Arthur Ferguson was concerned. The police, however, were far from happy. Another American complained that he had paid $1,000 for Big Ben, and another had made a $2,000 payment on Buckingham Palace. While visiting Paris, Ferguson managed to sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap at an unknown price to yet another American. Since Americans had all been his best customers, he decided to continue his work in their country. In 1925, he leased the White House to a cattle rancher for 99 years at $100,000 a year, with the first year's rent payable in advance. Ferguson's bank balance was now sufficiently large for him to consider retiring. His vanity got the better of him, and he wanted to end his career with a grand finale. While in New York, he found the perfect victim, an Australian from Sydney. Ferguson told him that the entrance to the New York harbor was to be widened, and unfortunately, the Statue of Liberty was in the way. However, sentimental attachments was not going to stop the path of progress, and the U.S. State Department was prepared to sell it to anyone who would take it away. The Australian attempted to raise the $100,000 deposit over the next couple of days. Ferguson was practically glued to his side, carefully steering him away from anyone with whom he might be tempted to boast about his venture. Ferguson allowed himself to be photographed with his buyer, arm in arm in front of the Statue of Liberty. Unfortunately, there was a delay in getting the money through. Ferguson grew impatient, and the Australian got suspicious. He took the photograph of himself and Ferguson to the police. It was exactly the breakthrough the police wanted. They already knew about the salesman of monuments, but he had always managed to escape them. The Australian led them straight to Ferguson, who was promptly arrested. Ferguson was jailed for 5 years, a rather small price for the fortune he had made. He was released in 1930 and moved to Los Angeles, where he lived in a lap of luxury, paid for by a few more convenient tricks until he died in 1938. Number 1. Based on the information in paragraphs 3 through 7, the reader can infer that A. Ferguson was successful because he only tried to sell small, obscure monuments. B. Ferguson was a man that could be trusted. C. Ferguson was very good at misleading people. Or D. People from America are more likely to be involved in lies than people from other countries. Question 2. What does the word sufficiently mean as it is used in paragraph 7? To a degree or quantity that meets one's needs, a level of mastery in a given profession, being an expert, to a point of being over and beyond what is needed, a state of lack or shortage, being unable to meet one's needs. Ferguson's treatment of the Australian in paragraph 8 indicates that A, he was emotionally attached to the Statue of Liberty. B, he was afraid he would get caught. C, he wanted to spend time with the Australian. Or D, he wanted proof that he and the Australian were often together. Number 4. What is the most important idea that paragraph 9 contributes to the article? A, paragraph 9 describes how police captured Ferguson after he tried to sell the Statue of Liberty. B, paragraph 9 explains that the punishment Ferguson received was extreme in comparison to how much money he made off his crimes. C, paragraph 9 illustrates how Ferguson lived the rest of his life in luxury. Or D, paragraph 9 explains how Ferguson was never really made to pay for his crimes. Number 5. What evidence from the article best supports the idea that Ferguson was an excellent salesman? A, the source of his revelation was a rich American from Iowa who he found staring reverently at Nelson's column. B, however, it all had to go, lions and fountains included. Or C, another American complained that he had paid £1,000 for Big Ben. Another had made a £2,000 down payment on Buckingham Palace. Or D, his vanity got the better of him and he wanted to end his career with a grand finale.